Hello everyone. I hope you guys can hear me. Shanawaz, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Shahid, can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
All right, guys. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, this is actually our very busy time. We normally do a lot of show and tell. The purpose of the show and tell is to prepare our student for the job market, build the confidence, and how they say things, how they present things. This is the requirements for each of our the boot camp. So, this afternoon now. Shahnawaz is going to actually do the hands-on show and tell on Kubernetes on the AWS. And before that, we want to actually share some exciting news. So let's get started with the exciting news. Then we can start the show and tell. In the meantime, Shahnawaz is our February the CloudOps student, and plus we have Shahid with us. Shahid is our like the lead mentor for all our DevOps, CloudOps, anything and everything you can say. So we got Shahid. Both we are excited to start. So Shahnawaz, actually, congratulations for your
Okay.
uh, AWS Solution Architect Association exam. It is very good one. It is something that you can do the many managers and the leaders they do like. The reason they do like it because it ensures that you have gone through a process, and then also it helps you that you expose yourself with so many AWS services that billions of like application is deployed on the AWS, billions. Okay, because the hundreds of millions of the company are using AWS. So congratulations. So you can share your experience because you have done the test from your house. So there is some strict process and procedure include. So you can share what from the end-to-end point of views. Then we can start the hands-on.
Yeah, thank you so much. As for AWS certification, I read lots of the document is the AWS document, and first I checked like what kind of from the domain they're gonna ask the questions, right? So it was S3, mainly S3, auto scaling, load balancing, migrating, analytics, and lambda function. Lots of question I got from the lambda function and analytics. So I expose myself. I know like which service is used for what. So it's helped me a lot. And so then I studied like for 3 weeks. Then I scheduled for the exam from the home, and from the home, like if you want to take the exam, so before 30 minutes before starting the exam, right, you can launch your exam, and there gonna be this person, he's gonna chat with you, and he's gonna ask you to like roll your camera around your desk, underneath your desk, show the wall, the door, and make sure there is no person in the room with you, and you are in a very quiet place. So I did that, and like also like you should have a your ID, state ID, passport, handy, and then you're gonna hold the ID in front of the camera and just click the camera. So it's gonna like take the picture, and then they're gonna you're gonna get the message on the screen like the proctor something like PROCT, or like verifying your identity. It's gonna take 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes sometime. For me, it took like 20 minutes. So after that, he gonna again ask you, make sure you are not wearing no headset, and make sure you have nothing in front of your desk. And he or she gonna ask you, hold your phone in front of the camera, show me, and also show me you're walking away from your desk and put the phone away. And after that, and he said, okay, now you're gonna start your exam and you're gonna see the message and some agreement, this and that. After we're gonna click, and then your exam gonna be started. It's like a multi-choice type of questions. Some questions are like they ask you like select the two question, but most of the question were like, that's the radio button. You have to select one. You have a 130 minute, and there are 65 questions. Passing marks are 720, and so questions are hard, tricky. They change one word, and you're gonna be like, oh, okay, this is the answer. That also seemed like answer too. So they're gonna play like a mind games with you. Yeah. So those kind of question I got. Some question were really easy, like from the Route 53 and CloudFront. Those question I was happy. Like I even took like 30 seconds to resolve them. But some question I took like more than 2 minutes because they were so tricky. They change one word and that's the right answer. So you gotta be careful with that. Again, go through the AWS documentation and do the practice test also. But there is no guarantee you're gonna get the question from those practice tests. There's no guarantee, but still you're gonna know, like, what kind of question you got. So that's my AWS journey. And today, let me share my screen now. Okay, here.
Shahid, do you have any question for him?
No, all good from my side.
Good, congratulations, Shahnawaz.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
It feels good when you know the work, and plus now you have the certification. Put it here.
Yeah.
Show in the Bronx area. I am certified.
Yeah,
All
I'm gonna stop everyone when I'm walking outside. Hey, I am certified to
right.
please. Yeah, yeah. All right.
After
So
a couple months, you'll say, "Hey, I'm making 150."
yeah, inshallah. Yep.
Yep.
So let's get started. So my name is Shahnawaz. I am part of February um, 2020 group. Uh,
2020. Yep.
yeah, 2022. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep. Now you're good.
So yeah. So today I'm gonna be deploying two-tier application, Node.js for the front end and Python for the back end, using the self-managed Kubernetes on the digital ocean. So
Nice.
what is the Kubernetes? It's a like container management tool. We use that tool to manage our containers. It could be Docker containers. It could be other containers too. So features of Kubernetes, like what are the features? Like why should we use the Kubernetes? So it has the self-healing, auto scaling, highly secure. What I mean by self-healing, for example, we using the pods in the Kubernetes. So what is the pod? Like pod is like a logical uh, um, unit of the Kubernetes. When we deploy a container, a Kubernetes say, okay, you are deploying a container, creating a container. It has to be in the pod. So inside the pod, we create the container. And like if the container dies, if the pod is dies, so what Kubernetes do? It's gonna just create another pod within the seconds. So auto scaling, there's a feature in the Kubernetes, like if there are lots of traffic coming to the pods. So what the Kubernetes is gonna do is gonna auto scale the pods, but we have to like do it like how many replicas we need, and so how many replica set we need. So based on that, it's gonna just auto scale it. When there is not much traffic, we can also scale it down. It's highly secure, highly available. Okay, so this is the structure of the Kubernetes. It has two parts: control plane node and the worker node or the data plane node. Uh, so the API, right? API, whatever the commands we run, we have to interact with the API server. Then API server gonna send it to the scheduler, and a scheduler gonna send it to the master, like controller manager. And it's also have a little database called etcd, and it's gonna like it has all the configuration and everything. And
So I have a question: how the database store the information in the etcd?
I mean, with the help of scheduler, right? This the arrow. Now with the
I was
API,
expecting PPR value.
API, and now for from the API, right? Whatever
No,
the command.
no. My question is how the database store the value. The answer will be keep your value.
Oh,
Shahid, am I
keep your.
right?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yes, you are right. Keep your value. Keep your value.
I
Yep, yep.
was so focus on the question. Yes,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, okay.
you're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it like it's also the etcd database is highly secure, right? And it's also do the scaling if it's on the cloud. I did try it on the like on-prem, like on the VMware. I installed it. I ran into issue. It said like you don't have a much storage because I was using 15 GB or 20 GB of hard disk, and I got the error. So on the cloud, it's gonna just auto scale it, and it's highly secure and it's fast. So when we come to the node, right? We have to install the Docker engine on it. We have to install the Docker engine on the master node as well. Proxy, what it do? It like assign the IP addresses to the pods. And what else? Yep. So that's the like I mean the Kubernetes structure. That's how it's work. And this is so. Without further ado, I'm gonna move on to the DigitalOcean, and I'm gonna create true droplets. I'm gonna click on the create droplet. I'm gonna choose the data center close to me. Since I'm living in the New York, so I'm gonna be choosing New York. And I'm gonna be choosing the operating system Ubuntu. The version I'm gonna be selecting 18.04.
Why is
And
that?
on the 20 we ran into issue. It was not installing it properly.
What about the 20? Like the whenever you see the LTS, that means good. Why not 20? I'm just asking.
Yeah,
I'm just
we only use this one, but like you said, if we can use the LTS, so yep. So, but I
sure.
did the yeah I did the hands-on on 18.04, so I'm gonna be using that. Then on the compute, like like CPU option, RAM option, I'm gonna be selecting with the 4 GB of RAM and 2 core of CPU. I'm gonna be selecting this, and I'm gonna scroll down, and I'm gonna select the password authentication method, and I'm gonna create a password for it. And scroll down. I'm going because I need two droplets, so I'm gonna rename one to master. The other one gonna be worker node. So yeah, it looks good. Now I'm gonna click on the create droplet. So it's provisioning two droplets. It's gonna take a minute. Okay, worker is done. The master is provisioned out as well. I'm gonna copy the public IP address of the master droplet, and I'm gonna open the mobile extra. It's a tool we can log in to the server remotely. I'm gonna click on the session. I'm gonna click on the SSH. I'm gonna paste the public IP address. Then I'm gonna specify the username, which is root, because I'm using the password, so I don't need no key or anything. I'm gonna just hit OK. and I'm going to enter the password.
Can you make the window bigger, please?
Sure. Good. And I'm going to do the app update. First thing first, it's updating the system with the latest packages on the operating system. And after that, I'm going to run this command to swap the memory. And then I'm going to download the package using the curl command. So I have it copied here. Okay, it's downloaded. The next command I'm going to be running to add the repo to the local machine, the Kubernetes repo. Okay, it's added. Now I'm going to update the system again. apt update assembly.
You are starting to install the Kubernetes on this server, right?
Right, yes, I'm going to do. And after that, I have one big command. Let me paste it, then I'm going to explain. So this is one big command. I'm using the kubeadm, which is used to initialize the Kubernetes cluster. And I'm installing the kubectl. We're going to be interacting with the kubectl to run the commands. And I'm also installing the CNI, which is for the networking. And then I'm also installing the Docker engine. So it's downloading all the tools one by one. It's going to take a minute or two.
Okay, if you can clear your screen and type the command on the top, not on the bottom, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, hit I, because I didn't put -y for the Docker, so it's going to ask me, do you want to install it?
So if we do not use the Docker, then whatever container the
Yeah.
container image you are going to use, we have to install that software. Am I right?
Right, yes,
Yes,
yes.
let's say we are not using the Docker. We are using the software. In that case, in the Kubernetes, you have to install that software.
That's right, yes.
Okay.
So installation is done. Now I have to uh, enable the Docker on the startup. So I'm going to be running this command here, systemctl enable Docker. It's done. Now I have to initialize the Kubernetes
Administrator,
cluster. Yeah,
ADM.
yeah. Cube ADM IN. It's initializing the Kubernetes cluster. Basically, it's going to make it as a master node. So that's why we have to run this command. Besides that, whatever I did previously, I have to do the same thing. I have to run the same command on the worker node as well. Uh, but I'm not going to run the kubeadm init on that, because that command only we use to make our cluster as a Kubernetes cluster as a master node. Okay, rename it. So I'm gonna be, yep. It's like booting up the control plane is a static pod. All right, it's done. And but it's saying like, okay, to start using your cluster, we need to run the following command. All I'm gonna do is just copy paste it. Okay. All right, and let me see if it's ready. CTL cluster info. Yep, it's saying like your cluster is ready. If I run the code, I don't have no node yet. Yep, yep, it only have one master. I don't have a no worker node. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy the IP address. Let me check. I copied it to and
So it gives the HTTPS, one of the URL, HTTPS colon slash slash 157. So is this something we can access on the web, the browser? Go back, go back to the terminal. Look at this. The Kubernetes master is running at your IP address.
yeah,
Top line, the top one. What does it do? What it no,
this
just
one.
the HTTPS colon slash slash 157.
Yeah, this one, right? This one.
No, no, up. Just no, no, just one line up.
This one.
Yes. What does it do? Can you
I didn't check it, but I can check it
just go
now.
check it? I want to see. It
Yeah,
does something. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, go advance. Yep, click it. Okay.
yeah.
So this is where you actually can see that it is a status. It's showing the status. Oh, it's failure. You're not okay. That's
No, I
fine.
don't know. I didn't check that. Yeah, to be
You're
honest,
good.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
You're
it's
good.
basically the Kubernetes API server's address. So you can reach the API server by this URL with the
Yep.
oh,
APIs and API endpoints and the necessary authentication headers.
Yep.
okay, got it. Thanks. Okay, master. Then this one. You copy this, SSH, and root
So now we're going to the node, right?
in Node. Yes.
Make it bigger, please. Rename the session. So a node is like they are controlled by the Kubernetes master to run the pod, and pod is our application in this case.
Okay. So this has nothing on it. So first thing first, I'm gonna do the APT update on it. And whatever commands I ran before uh, on the master node, uh, I'm gonna be running all those commands, but I'm not gonna be running the kuberium init command because that's gonna again make this node the master. I wanna make this node as a worker. How we gonna make it as a worker? We're gonna see it in a while. And same thing again, I have to download the package with the curl, and then I'm gonna add the repo to my local machine, Kubernetes repo to my local machine, and then I'm again gonna update it. So it's gonna get the update from the repo, Kubernetes repo. Okay, it's done. And okay, let me clear it. Now I'm gonna be running this big command again, it's the same command.
So you're preparing the node now.
Yes, yes. But we need all that, right?
Yes.
Kuberium, yeah, kubectl, Docker on it, and CNI just for the networking. So it's installing again, it's gonna take a minute or two, bear with me.
So if we have a, since we are doing the self-manage means we are preparing the total cluster. So
Cluster, yes.
if we need the 10 node, so each of the node we have to do this manually, correct?
Right, yes.
Okay.
That's why it's called like self-managed. We have to do it everything. Like if we need another master node, we have to create another droplet and make it as a
Yep.
master node. If you want to need another worker node, we have to provision another droplet, another cloud server, and we have
Mhm.
to like join it with the master node. So it's going to be a worker node. So everything is manual.
I have a question. Why didn't you select the AWS for this? Why did you select the
AWS, I could select that one too. Is the same thing. I just like this one because this I still have a credit on it.
got it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm using it. And I did mention when I upload the show and tell, I
Understood.
said, yeah, so I'm gonna use this one. Again, it's installed, the Docker is installed, kubectl installed, the CNI for the networking is installed. And now I'm gonna enable the Docker on the startup again. I'm gonna go back to the master node. Now I'm gonna be installing the networking part of it. Uh, Whatever the command Shahid Bhai give, it's not working anymore. So I don't know. Maybe it's a syntax error or something. I did my research and I found another command, and it's gonna install the like a network over relay.
Okay.
Weave. There are lots of other available for the network over relay, but I'm be selecting the Weave works for that. Okay, it's done. See, the daemon said apps we've net created. Okay, so this server is ready, but it still is not part of the our cluster.
So the
So
worker did not join yet, not the
join it.
important.
Yeah, right. So when we run the Kubernetes like a kube ADM init command, it's also give us a token. We can use this token. See, it stays on it. Like then you can join any number of worker node by running the following on each as a root. So we gotta make sure like we are the root user. You're gonna copy this and paste it here. See, it's joining the cluster now.
Yep.
And one thing like we cannot run any command over here like nodes. See, the only way to make it is a environment. I don't know. I didn't work on that to be honest. But whatever the command we're gonna be running, even we wanna create a pod, we're gonna be running the command here. But the pod gonna be created on the worker node.
Yes.
So let's see if our node is ready. Okay, it's ready.
So everything we are going to do on the master. The
Yes,
master
everything,
actually
whatever. Yep, yep,
assign the
everything. Yep.
workload to the all the node. So
Right.
node does not do anything else. Yes.
Right, right, yep. So I'm gonna be using the deployment method, and I'm gonna be using the dry run method. The dry run is for the testing purpose. What it's gonna do is gonna create a YAML file. Again, the deployment we're gonna do it through the YAML file. So rather than creating the vim frontend.yaml, we can just run a command and redirect it. The dry run redirect in the front.yaml file. So what it's gonna do is gonna just create the a deployment file for us, and then we're going to apply that because by running with the dry run, it's not going to deploy it. It's just going to create a YAML file. Basically, why we use it, if there is any syntax error or any error, we're gonna know right away like there is something problem with it. So we're gonna go back and fix it. So I have a command here. I'm gonna just copy it, and I'm gonna do a little bit changing in it. Front end YAML. Okay. This is the command, but it's for the creating a pod, not creating a deployment. So I'm gonna do a little bit changing here. Create deployment. Front end image is correct. I don't need the port here. And okay, dry run. That's the command I was talking about. Dry hyphen run uh, is equal to client and output in a YAML file redirected in frontend.yaml file. Again, we are telling this, okay, save the output in a frontend.yaml file. Let me make sure the syntax is good because I am terrible at spellings. kubectl create deployment name is frontend The image, I'm using the Fatma's image. I was doing the hands-on in the morning time. There's something wrong with my image. So I'm using the Fatma's image here. Hope she will not mind. And let's hit enter. Okay. Do the ls. Let me see the file is created, and we can cat and check the YAML file. See, it created everything for us. The kind is deployment because I'm doing the deployment. This is the label for our deployment, and the app name is Frontend. This is the image, and this is the image name. So looks good. Now let me apply it. kubectl space apply hyphen f and the file name and hit enter. All right. It says like the deployment is created. I want to explain one more thing. The first time when we um, create the deployment, it said created. If I want to do some changes here and I want to reapply it, that the second time you're gonna see is configured, because we don't have to create it again and again. It's gonna just configure it. And even some parts are created using this file, it's gonna just terminate the old parts and create the new parts. But after applying, so let me check if my deployment is ready. I can use just a deploy or deployment. It's still going to work. Yep, it's ready. It say the front end, one part is running. And now we're going to create the service for it. And if, again, I have a command here. And I'm going to explain like why I'm using this command. All right. Expose part. No, expose deployment. The syntax going to be kubectl expose because we want to expose it. And because we are using the deployment method, so I have to mention a deployment. That's again deployment name. This is the port number. It's a Node.js application, so it's work on the port 3000, and this is the node port. Okay, there are three types of uh, method we can create the service. Cluster IP, if you want to do the communication between two parts, they has to be in the same namespace though. So we can use the cluster IP. It's not going to be exposed to the internet. For example, we have a backend and we don't want to expose it to the internet. So we use cluster IP for that. Node port is going to expose it to the internet. Load balancer does the same thing because this is the front end. Obviously, I want a user to interact with my application and they be able to reach out to this application. So yeah, again, the dry run method, okay, output in the YAML and save it to the front end -sv.yaml. Hit enter to the ls. Yep, the file is created. Again, same thing. I'm gonna apply this file. So it's gonna provision a service. Okay, it's created. Now let me see. Yep, and the port range always like it's going to give from 30,000 to 32,000. Randomly, it's going to give any port. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my droplet and I'm going to copy any public IP worker or master is still going to work. And I'm going to open a new tab on my browser, enter the IP address, colon. I'm going to go back. Let me see what kind of range they give me. The 3250. I'm going to copy this, go back and paste it here. Finger crossed, hopefully it's gonna work. Why is giving me this error? What the hell is this? Hide, back to safety. Come on. Okay. Copy, paste, and the port number. Maybe risky.
Yeah, just click on the details.
Details and go proceed. This answer where
Yeah, visit this unsafe site. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Oh, okay, 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 okay. I didn't
There
see
you
that.
go. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. It scared me. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, so our front end is ready here, but it's we don't have a no backend here, so it's not gonna work. So next step gonna be um, deploy a Python application, right? It's gonna interact with the Node.js application, which is front end. Again, same thing. I have a command here. Gonna copy that command. Okay. I'm gonna paste it. I'm gonna do some changes here. It's using the namespace here. I don't need the namespace because I didn't created one, and I think I didn't even need the port because I'm gonna create the service for that. So it said run. The kubectl run we use to create a pod, but I'm doing the deployment method. I'm creating a deployment. So I'm gonna be using the deployment here. Deployment. The deployment name is backend. This is the image. And yeah, there's the space. Okay. Hyphen has to be space here. Okay. Again, same dry hyphen n is equal to client output hyphen o output it the YAML file and redirect and save it in the backend dot YAML file again. And let me double check the spellings and everything. Backend is good. Let's not QCDL. Why saying QCDL? QCDL. Create. Yeah, see, I made a mistake. Create deployment, backend again. The image name. Okay, it's look good now. All right. I didn't type created, that's why I got that error. Let me do the ls. Yep, my backend YAML file is ready to deploy. So kubectl apply as backend.yaml. Okay, it's created. Let me check if my deployment my deployment is ready. Deploy. Yep, it's ready. Now I have to create a service for it. Okay. So again, same. And again, it's exposing the, we use the kubectl expose command to expose our deployment or pod or container because I'm using the deployment, not the pod. Pod again for the kubectl expose pod for the for exposing the pod, but because I use the deployment, so I'm gonna use the deployment for deployment. The deployment name port 5000, and it's exposing to the internet. I don't wanna expose my backend to the internet, so I'm gonna be using the cluster IP. Make sure the cluster C is capital and the IP is capital, and it's working. I mean, it's working on the port 5000, so that's why I mentioned here 5000. And again, with the dry run, again hyphen o output to the YAML and redirect and save it to the backend hyphen sv dot YAML. Okay, it didn't give me no error. That means it's good. kubectl. I'm going to apply it now. Svc YAML. All right. It's created and deployed. Now let me check if it's ready. It did. Yep, here. Cluster IP. And this is the IP. And then I'm going to go back to my browser. I'm going to hit refresh. And I'm going to input some data. Let me see if it's working. Yep, it's working. And so that's it from me. I created I use the deployment method on the Kubernetes to deploy the two-tier application. Again, I use the node port and the cluster IP node port. I could have used the load balancer here. If I want to use it, I can go back to my YAML file. I can open it with the Vim editor front end and .sv. Open it, and it's a node port here. If I want to change it, if I'm gonna type a load balancer, so it's gonna create a load balancer for it. So
Awesome.
that's it from me. And this is the, hold on, let me show you. I will do that. Shadbhai, this is a technical joke for you, Dad. What are the
Yeah.
clouds made of? Linux server mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This is thank you.
Yeah. Thank
So,
you for the walkthrough. So,
mm,
can you tell us what are the other ways you can expose a service
what other ways to expose
besides load balancer and node
notepad?
pod publicly?
With the we learn two methods, right? The load balancer.
The ingress.
Yeah, ingress. Yeah, ingress. That's what I was going to say. Let me
Okay.
let me
Yeah.
finish. Yeah, ingress. Yeah, the ingress. I'm gonna do the hands-on later on.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
successful, then probably I'm gonna set up another show and tell. I like Kubernetes. I'm working hard on it. So how
Yeah.
was my explanation? The wording.
Yeah. That was very nice. So one another thing I wanna
Mhm.
ask
Okay.
is you deployed the front end and the
Right.
back end and the
Right.
respective services as well.
Right.
But how are these front end and back end are being connected? Like how is the front end knows that where the back end is? How does
Through
the
the.
front end know?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like how it's gonna know.
Yeah, you just deployed the things, but where
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
you make the connection?
The connection, because the image I use, right?
Yeah.
The backend
Okay.
image I use, right? Because remember we even use the Docker compose and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's already like say backend connected with the backend, right? Because we mentioned
Hmm.
there in the setup proxy.js file. So that's how
Yeah.
they are talking to each other.
Exactly. So the thing is, if I
Mhm.
just change the backend service name, what happens?
If you change the service name there, I mean, we did another method with the config,
Yeah.
like the
The config map.
config map. Yeah, we can do it that way too.
Yeah. Okay. So where do we put the configuration and where do we mount it?
We mount the first we have to create the we need the setup dot proxy dot js setup proxy dot js content, right? We copy that
Yeah.
content. We're gonna create a config map file, and we're
Yeah.
gonna save it, but name has to be the same. Setup
Hmm.
proxy.js. After that, we're gonna create a config map file. Uh, when after creating that, right, we in the YAML file we can create the volume, and we can mount that volume, and we also gonna use the sub path. Because if you're not gonna
Yeah.
do, remember last time we had the problem. What it's gonna do is gonna like delete everything. The Node.js, all the like a package.json is going to delete everything. It's going to just create one folder, setup proxy.js. So avoid that. To avoid that, we use the mount path and the subpath. In the subpath, we have to say,
Yeah.
okay, this is the file. You have to create this file.
All right. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Ask me. I'll try. If I don't, you're going to help me.
Okay. I think for this part
Okay.
you've done very good. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate the
All right.
feedback. And how was my wording? Was like the way I was explaining? It was okay, or I need to work more on it?
Yeah, it was on point. Okay.
Okay.
So I think that was good as well.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate the feedback. And the audience they are watching the show and tell, please feel free to give me feedback, bad or good. If it's bad, I'm gonna work more, and even if it's good, I'm gonna work more on it. The way I explain, I think I'm gonna give the feedback myself. I have to be smooth, you know, so I'll work on that. Thank you so much. Shiblu bhai, you have a question for me?
No,
Anyone?
no,
Anyone from the audience? They have the question for me?
no, I'm good. Let me
Okay.
see.
Yeah, this was very
We have in,
smooth. So
we have in
I
the
think
chat.
everyone can.
Congratulations, Polly said congratulations, and then what is called Fatima said congratulations. So Michigan Bangladesh blogger, okay, that's her
I
name.
paid $40 last month for cluster. What? Yeah.
Then I think everybody said good job.
Mm-hmm.
DNS name. Who is
Thank
KB?
you.
I don't know who is KB.
Bukhari.
Welcome. Oh, Bukhari.
Thanks
Okay.
everyone. And I was not looking at the messages like DNS. What do you mean by DNS?
I think that someone was asking ingress. Ingress.
Ingress, yeah. Like Shahid Bhai was asking the DNS name. What do you mean by DNS? I didn't understand what you're trying to say. Like
Oh no,
communication,
I think maybe
communication,
she wanted to tell that you can actually
uh,
reach from one
DNS.
service to another with
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
DNS
yeah.
name.
With the part,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I know that with the DNS, yes. Yeah, but he asked me the question, how you gonna like create a service with the DNS? I think we can
Yep.
do it. Like, yeah, if it's
But
two parts and
my
different name
question
is
was,
yes, yeah,
where do we put the configuration?
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But that was
All
a
right.
good
Good.
question
Good.
too. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you. Definitely, we are going to. Are you going to do the? You are going to do the show and tell again this week, correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna be working on the EKS now because I'm gonna jump on the AWS now. So I love AWS now. So I'm
Good.
gonna yeah, so I'm gonna be working on the EKS. I'm gonna try to deploy in both method, like manually create the iron role, this and that, and then after that, EKS CTL. And first I'm gonna do the EKS CTL, then I'm gonna be do the show and tell with the ingress. After finishing that, I'm gonna create the next again the show and tell, which is like in my plate for the next whole week. Then I'm gonna be jumping on the reporting thing, like the monitoring. I mean, sorry, on the monitoring.
Sounds perfect. Thank you,
Thank you.
Shahid. Thank you, Bukhari. Sorry, thank you, like the Shanawaz and all the guys was watching and put the comments and also supported Shanawaz. Very good evening, everyone. Thank you. We'll talk next week or sometime this week with the different show and tell. Have a good day, everyone. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Let's see.
Join the webinar to learn about Python Software Engineer. Get 2 weeks of the free trial. To know more, feel free to contact us.
Webinar on January 7, 2023. Get 2 weeks of free trial by joining our courses. Benefits you'll get from us. To know more, feel free to contact us.
Join the webinar to learn about Vehicle Validation Engineer. Get 2 weeks of the free trial. To know more, feel free to contact us.